love you. Bye.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Love you.
Happy Mother's Day. We love you.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you.
Count on one thing. The same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. Working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will. Count on one thing. The same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. Working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will. I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. Nothing can stand against. I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. Nothing can stand against. I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. Nothing can stand against. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh, yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Oh, yes, I will.
Hey Mag Church, this is Pastor Daniel here. I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We hope that you are having a great day so far. If you have kids, make sure that you hop on over to our Mag Kids Facebook page and or YouTube and be able to watch the message from there from Pastor Aaron. Stay tuned for after the message from Pastor Adam about a special thing that we've got going on for our moms. Thanks so much. Enjoy this message.
Yaakov, heel grabber. Second born, second best in the eyes of my father, who gave me nothing. From him I learned to take, to keep, to hold on. I spent my life fighting for what was mine, wrestling. Not with these, but with this. You have something I want. I would outsmart you. I would win. Ask my brother Esau. Birthright, mine. Ask my father Isaac. Blessing, mine. Ask my uncle Laban. Flocks, daughters, mine. Ask God. In second thought, ask me. I wrestled the Lord God. There, on the Yabok, in the darkness. There, he wounded me, crippled me, broke me. And that is how I won. Because when you fight God, winning does not mean breaking. Winning means being broken. There, it changed my name. I was Yaakov, heel-grabber. But I became Israel. God fights. You cannot break God. He will break you. And then, only then, He will fight for you. Then you become the blessing to others that you were trying to steal from others.
Hey everybody, it's great to have you with us here online at Mag Church. I am Adam Allen. I'm the lead pastor here, and it is my privilege to be able to bring the Word of God to you. Today we actually get to kick off a new sermon series entitled Messy Life. And what this series is going to be dealing with is the life of a man named Jacob. Now, I also want to take the time to also wish all of you mothers a very happy Mother's Day. Now, the truth that I know is that all of us have a story. You know the details that have made us who we are, an origin, a genesis, the kind of story that starts with in the beginning. Now, most Genesis stories aren't actually told from the beginning. They are told from the end after someone has actually lived, because origins are simply a starting point. You see, they are not meant to tell the whole story, because stories aren't told from how well you were birthed. They are told about how well you actually lived. Now, in the Bible, there is a story about a man named Jacob. And he finds himself holding on for dear life against what is described as an angel that he has been wrestling with all night. You see, it's daybreak, and the angel wants to be free, but ironically, so does Jacob. Now, Jacob's hip has actually been ripped from its socket because of this fighting, but he still refuses to let go. And in a struggle, Jacob cries out, "I will not let you go until you bless me." It's a cry from the depths of his own struggle, and upon hearing this, the angel asked Jacob a simple question: "What is your name?" Now, in ancient times, your name meant everything. You see, it's who you are. And what's crazy is that this isn't the first time this question has been asked to Jacob. You see, it's being asked here again for a very specific reason, one that is only understood here by knowing how he answered it in the beginning. What the angel is asking Jacob essentially is the question of who are you? And how much pain comes from our attempt to answer that question. I mean, what would you say? We were first introduced to Jacob in Genesis 25. You see, it's a scene shift to Isaac, who is the son of Abraham, who is the father of the Israelite people to whom God has given a promise. Now, the obvious question is, how does this promise continue once Abraham is gone, once he's passed away? So what we are introduced to is actually a problem, another formless and void situation. You see, Isaac's wife, Rebekah, is barren. And it's crazy, because even though her name is Rebekah, I wonder if what she actually finds herself answering to is barren. You see, it's crazy how we can sometimes exchange our identity for our deficiencies. We all know the pain of being unable to produce or live up to something. It's probably the biggest contributor to the mental health decline that some of us have today, struggling with who we are because of what we can't be. Isn't there such a frustration in barren desires? The hardest thing to fight is the identity theft that comes with void promises. Because after all, who are you when you can't be who you wanted to be? I guess I just find it interesting, because it wouldn't surprise me at all to know that before Jacob ever wrestled with that question, Rebekah wrestled with it first. Because we all wrestle with it, trying to come up with something that eases the pain of what we know comes after that question, the answer. I mean, how many of us worry about how we answer that question? What's your name? Who are you? I mean, how many people are listening to this sermon today who feel just like Rebekah, having a desire that they have dreamed of only to see it unfulfilled, and then struggling with the implications of walking barren? Now, it says that Isaac pleads with God for Rebekah, and you know what happens? She becomes pregnant. God hears his prayer and gives them twins. A double blessing from God. Now we come to see that these twins are struggling violently within her. You see, the word struggle here means to smash or crush, and it is used to show a vivid representation of how painful the struggle was within her. She is so confused by the pain that she asks God, why is this happening to me? Which is an interesting question, isn't it? Because the answer seems just so obvious. It's happening because it's what you wanted. I wonder sometimes if we get confused because we thought that the process by which God would deliver something that we want would leave us fully content. But this birth has brought forth smashing and crushing, which ironically also came with the barrenness. I guess what I thought was that when I received the promise that it would not be accompanied by crushing, that my struggle would cease to exist, and that I would be able to answer better the question of who I am. But here I am with everything that I wanted, yet in pain with a blessing that I thought would make me feel more complete. Because after all, what do you do when what you thought would bring a clearer definition to who you are makes you question it even more? I believe sometimes the hardest thing to do is to stop walking in barrenness after receiving the blessing. Because the truth is, just because you receive a blessing doesn't always mean that you know how to walk in it. Sometimes barrenness can still be your identity even after your barrenness has ended. Because what has actually happened is that barrenness has become your identity. Because every blessing comes with a struggle. But the question is, will you survive it? Which also may be the question that every parent ponders the most. Am I going to survive this? What I think she will find out is that the pain of childbearing pales in comparison to the pain of child rearing. You see, there is this unspoken pain and crushing that accompanies raising children that is different from the pain and crushing that accompanies birthing. You see, there is an exhaustion that you didn't know existed and a loss of identity that you were surprised that you ever experienced. I mean, how could something so beautiful and small and fragile cause so much pain and fear? And the Lord answers Rebekah and tells her that she has two nations that are warring in her womb. You see, from the beginning, the Lord tells her that they will be rivals and that one will be stronger than the other. The older son will serve the younger. This is why it hurts. This is why it is crushing. But I wonder if she caught it, that the pain, it doesn't stop right here after she's birthed them. That what she is experiencing, well, it actually accompanies what we call family. Pain, crushing, fear. It's what it means to be a parent. Now, Rebekah is giving birth, the scriptures detail, and she sees her first son, who the Bible tells us is red and covered in hair like a fur coat. Which I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of sick. I mean, she just gave birth to a werewolf, and they name him Esau. And then right behind him is really where the story is interesting, is the other twin. And what it details about this twin is that he is grasping at the heel of his brother, so they named him Jacob, which means heel grabber, which was probably meant to be a playful remembrance, but would actually be more prophetic than they could ever imagine, because Jacob would always be grasping for heels, trying to be seen, trying to be loved, trying to be important, trying to be accepted, trying just to prove his name wrong. Now, what I find interesting is that as the story continues, it tells us that as the boys grow up, Isaac and Rebekah had their favorites. You see, Isaac loved Esau because he enjoyed eating the wild game that Esau would bring back home. But it says that Rebekah loved Jacob. But what I find interesting is that in that statement that Rebekah loved Jacob, it actually doesn't give a reason as to why that she loves Jacob, just that she loves him. But I think that I may know why. I think it's because she knows what it's like to be a heel grabber herself. You see, she knows what it's like to walk while barren. You see, she knows what it feels like to be overlooked and ignored. She can see herself in her son Jacob. She sees herself in him. Now, for those of you that are parents, isn't that scary at times? You know, seeing yourself in your kids. You see, when they start sounding just like you and acting just like you. Now, I have to stop and give some advice on parenting that I am learning. You see, what I find is that it's hard to parent in your dysfunction. I can tell you that the situation that adds the greatest depth to this rivalry is the favoritism that has been shown by each parent. In fact, I can tell you this, that if you want to wound a child deeply, show them that they are loved less, because what will end up happening is that they will spend the rest of their lives trying to just be loved, trying to find love. You see, what is difficult, and I'll admit this, is what you have to do is to learn to parent despite your own dysfunction, despite your own wounds, despite your own insecurities. And like I said, which I admit, is extremely difficult to do. Because what we will see later is that this family would go through a messy situation that nearly destroys it. with two siblings at each other's throat, with the youngest running away because of what he has done, and the oldest determined to kill the younger brother because of what he does. I mean, does any of this sound familiar? Does it seem like maybe your own family reunion? Man, can't families be so messy? They can come with some of the messiest situations that are accompanied with great crushing. Sometimes you wonder if you will ever survive this. But all of that, what we're talking about, comes later. You see, right now, Rebecca is enjoying the end of her barrenness. You see, she's enjoying being seen, filled as she holds her babies in her arms, a snapshot of simpler times. Now, recently, my wife told me about an interesting story about a photo that her parents have in their house. In fact, this photo is actually in their living room, and I've seen the picture several times. It has Rachel and her brother Daniel goofing around in the kitchen of their former house. I mean, they must have been teenagers when this photo was taken, but it still sits in the living room to this day of their parents' house. One day, Rachel asked her mom why out of all the pictures that they have, they chose that one. Because after all, like, sometimes you don't like the picture that you're in. Sometimes you know that there's a better photogenic photo of yourself that would be better to display. But Rachel was taken back by her mother's answer. You see, to her mother, this wasn't just a picture. It was a pivotal moment. One that Rachel honestly wouldn't appreciate until being a mother herself. Her mother said that she captured that moment because it was so rare. You see, Rachel and her brother fought so much that her mother wondered if they would ever just get along. And here they were, enjoying each other's company, joking around and laughing. You see, it was a far cry from the normal screams and shouting that had gone on. And I guess she just needed this moment, a moment to go back, to know that the struggle is worth it. To know that even in the chaos and dysfunction, that God can create something from nothing. It's proof that God is greater than any dysfunction that we face, that in every mess can actually become a message. That even when you don't know who you are, God does. Now, I know that today is Mother's Day, and I want to wish every mother a very happy Mother's Day. And my hope is that this message can bring you hope and comfort, that you serve a God that sees you, He hears you, and He loves you despite your own wounds and dysfunctions. That no matter how empty it can feel, the struggle is worth it. So I tell you, enjoy the moment, because they go by so quickly. And may you find the moments that you can snap a photo of, to just hold on to get you through the struggles, because I'm guaranteeing you, I know this, I understand this, it will all be worth it. And for everyone else, may you realize that your identity was never wrapped up in what you lacked or didn't have. Because in the end, may you come to know what it means when it says, in the beginning, God created. That He is still working in your life, and He's still bringing forth His promises. I know it's a struggle. I know there's crushing. I know there's pain. I know there's a lot of questions. And maybe you're at a moment too where you're sitting there barren, wondering who you are. But the truth that I can tell you is that the person who created you, He knows exactly who you are.
Hey, we hope that you enjoyed this special message from Pastor Adam. Please like, share, and subscribe on the different social media things. We'd love for you to be notified of when we've got new stuff coming up, and be able to share things with your friends and family about these awesome messages from Mag Church during this time. We got a special thing that we want to do for our moms out there. on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, we're going to be posting a graphic that we would like you to share and like and comment on and stuff like that. What we want to do, we want to do a giveaway for our mothers, okay? So make sure that you put your mom's name, tag her or whatever the lingo is, put her in the comments, and we will draw from all those names that we find, and then we will deliver that gift card to them electronically, digitally, however you want to say. We've got a few things to choose from Target to Applebee's to a couple of other things for the moms to choose from. We just want to say Happy Mother's Day again. We love you, moms, especially my mom. I love you. Thank you so much for putting up with me my whole life. We hope that you have a great day. We're praying for you. Remember to choose faith over fear. We hope to see you soon.